G'day guys, today we're going to be running through some texture packs that instead of doing massive overhauling changes, these are texture packs to change a few elements within Minecraft itself. Most of these are small but nice changes that you will appreciate and will ultimately add to your experience playing Minecraft. Moving into our first texture pack, we have Elytras Plus. Elytra Plus adds in a whole new collection of different Elytra textures that you can access by changing the name of the Elytra in an anvil. There are many different designs ranging from the common capes that we all know in life, such as the Minecons ones, to a whole wealth of different new textures such as colors, blocks textures, and so much more, including something like the pod racing textures. This does require the use of Optifine in order for this texture pack to work, but when doing so you gain access to over 150 different textures for your Elytra itself, and you also gain access to a collection of other textures as well. By hitting the subscribe button down below, you'll gain access to the Dream Mask texture pack. This is actually available at default. Moving into our next one, we've got Classic 3D. Classic 3D changes the textures to a whole lot of blocks that adds more depth towards them. The most noticeable ones of which would be the blocks with a stone or brick-like texture, such as cobblestones or planks. This pretty much makes the 3D effect on the actual blocks themselves and a bit more depth to the blocks. This texture pack also changes up how objects like flowers are shown, giving them a 3D effect instead of being left flat. This is also present on many other things such as doors and many other objects as well. Moving into our next one, we've got the Blinking Ender Eyes. Blinking Ender Eyes is an odd texture pack that gives the eyes of Ender a randomized blinking effect that is visible whilst both in your hands and also whilst in an end portal frame itself. This is ultimately a weird and interesting effect, but hey, if you're interested in it, it's definitely a thing. Moving on, we have Enchanted Weapons. Enchanted Weapons is another Optifine based texture pack that adds unique textures to your weapons based upon what enchantment you have on your weapon at the time. In most cases, only one of the textures will actually show up on your weapon, but if you're using diamond or a netherite sword with fire aspect on it, the fire aspect animation will also show on top of whatever other enchantment you get first to gain its texture. Following on from that one though, we've also got Enchanted Tools. Enchanted Tools is more of the same as the last one, just adding unique textures to all the tools as well. There was one special feature that comes with this one though. The efficiency enchant is copper themed when it comes to the tools, which means that there's also an added effect to this where the tool will actually wear out. The copper on the tool will rust for you, letting you know with a better indication on when you should probably repair your tool instead of just the normal health bar on the tool itself. Moving on, we have the Better Leaves pack. Germ's Better Leaves add-on is a texture pack add-on that retextures the leaves, which gives them a different look that makes them a little bit more realistic, as well as adding a custom model that makes them look a little bit more bushy without actually altering the hitboxes at all, meaning that you can still walk through them normally. They just got a bit more of a nicer effect towards them. Moving on, we've got the Invisible Item Frame pack. The Invisible Item Frame pack does exactly what it says on the box. It makes item frames invisible. I don't think I really need to explain this one to you, but just in case you want to see them after you accidentally lose them, just hit the F3 and B button at the same time and the hitboxes for these items will become visible. Moving on, we've got GUI Retextures. GUI Retextures is a pack that is made to make some changes towards the GUI in order to give the game a more vibrant look, making it look a lot nicer than what it usually does. This is basically a really good texture pack to use in order to enhance your entire UI system. Everything from your HUD to your actual inventories and everything along those lines just made to look a lot newer and fresher if you've gotten sick of the typical vanilla look. There is also a dark mode version available as well. Moving on, we've got the Brewing Canvas pack. This pack replaces both the Corbett and Fighters painting in Minecraft with a full step-by-step guide on potion making it, practically making it so whenever you need to make some potions and you don't know the recipe, instead of going to look it up on the wiki, you just have a picture right next to your potion brewing stands in Minecraft instead. Ultimately a beautiful time saver. Moving on, we've got the Spawn Egg 3D pack. Now this pack changes how the spawn eggs look in Minecraft. We all know what they look like now. They're basically little eggs with polka dots in them, which are all color coded, but it's not exactly easy to keep an eye on which ones are which in good memory in that case. Some people will be able to memorize certain ones, let's say the creeper one, because that's the green and black polka dots one, but this texture pack just makes it so that instead of it being eggs, they're small 3D models of the actual mob themselves, making it far easier to identify what mob you're looking for. Moving to the next texture pack, we've got Fresh Animations. This is currently a work in progress resource pack that does take advantage of some of Optifine's special things that allows you to give you a massive overhaul to entity animation. This adds in a whole new animations to a majority of mobs that gives Minecraft a whole new fresh look. Puns aside, this is ultimately a really high quality texture pack that gives animations to a lot of different things that can overall bring a lot more life and feeling to what the game plays like, especially with those mobs. Moving on, we've got Xali's Enchanted Books. I definitely said that wrong, but this pack is kind of somewhat similar to what the tools and weapons enchanted ones are from earlier, just instead this time around there's actually a more of a noticeable reason for this. Basically, the idea behind this texture pack is to make each book look different, so it's easier to tell which book is what enchantment when you look in a massive chest filled to the brim with them, instead of having to look at them one by one. And this idea of course uses Optifine as the other ones do in order to do these individualized texture packs, and it also looks different based upon whatever enchantment they are on them, and the actual creator of this made the effort to make it match Minecraft's art style to the best of their abilities. Moving on, we've got the Creatures Plus pack. This pack is made to add in a whole new collection of creature textures for a lot of the current mobs. For example, for the dolphin textures, there's now more variety of them. For example, there's going to be orcas, Amazon River dolphins, beluga whales, narwhales, as well as the common dolphin itself. Basically, the idea behind this texture pack is it takes a bunch of the common IRL mobs and gives them off a bunch of different variations of different styles. For another example, wolves have some real life dog breed examples as well. Moving on to Carl's arms and armor, this texture pack is made to give you a more traditional look of armor that can easily be changed in what variant of said armor by renaming the item in an anvil. Now of course this is another one of those Optifine required mods, as well as it uses the system that a lot of the other mods tend to use, but it also adds in things such as a dagger, katana, pitchfork, hammer, battle axe, and a sickle, which of course are renamed variants of actual tools such as a sword, shovel, pickaxe, axe, and a hoe. Again, ultimately another good way to get some cool unique textures on your weapons if you want to change it up just a little bit. Moving on to 𝓵𝓷𝓷𝓵𝓰𝓼, guys, this is a texture pack for your my non-shaders people out there, the people who don't have the computers that can handle shaders. This mod adds in some pretty cool textures towards the sky that instead of having the normal square sun, it's more circularized and rounded, as well as the actual background of the world is now more realistic and more beautiful, kind of in the same vein that a lot of shaders tend to do with the night sky and the day sky, which is ultimately really cool. Moving on, we've got the round trees texture pack. Now this texture pack does exactly what it says in the tin. It rounds off all the trees in order to make them look more rounded. Now there are some weird issues that can come of this. It does work really well for a lot of different ways, but in certain veins it doesn't work as well. When you lay down the logs horizontally, that doesn't look as good as it does when it's all vertical, as well as when there's other blocks around it on top of it. It just kind of stands out a little bit too much in a lot of different ways, but overall it's a really cool aesthetically done texture pack. Moving on, we've got Crops 3D. This is of course in a similar vein to the 3D one from earlier today, but this one's actually going to be more focused in on making some really cool looking models for the crops entirely, removing the whole flat weighted crops to making them more 3D, and they actually look really cool. And there's also a variant that works with the Fateful texture pack, if you guys don't know, which is the texture pack that I currently use a lot of the time. Moving on, we got the Unity Dark Edition UI. This is basically just a dark mode UI. This is all that this one does, but it works for a collection of different things. Not only does it make the main menu, the loading screen, everything of it a lot darker and more easier on the eye so it doesn't hurt you as much, this also has compatibility with a collection of other Minecraft mods as well, which the list is ongoingly updated. If you want to know which ones it works for, it's in the actual mod page itself. Moving on, we've got the Visible Ores texture pack. Basically, the plain idea is this is to make the ores far more visible in the typical Minecraft game, making them glow as well as other bits and pieces that makes it just a lot more visible for you. There's not much more to it than that. Moving on, we've got the Water Improved texture pack, which basically just makes water slightly more transparent, makes it a lot more see-through, meaning that it's a lot more easier to see things in the actual water instead of being dark and mystified as it normally is. And that's about it. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that subscribe and like button down below, and go check out this video up on screen now, as it's more mods that you may enjoy looking at. Either way, goodbye.